Your subconscious has an autoimmune response and you don't even know it. And what am I fucking talking about, right? Well, let's look at it. You've made a bunch of money. You've done 30, 50, $100,000 a month, but you still remember that pain and you think it's your fuel. And you think if you let that go, it might all come crumbling down. I have heard some of you say this. I have heard coaches that do over $200,000 a month say, I'll never forget this because it's my fuel. Yeah, good luck ever fucking enjoying anything. Like, real talk, good luck ever enjoying anything that you create because you will forever be running away from that old moment. And that's why none of the money that you make actually feels the way that you thought it would, because you are consistently coming from that story of, I need to get away from this. And as long as you have that thing running after you or chained to you, dragging behind, it will create strife in your life. It will create moments where you build it all, and then for some reason, you just run into roadblocks or resistance, or it all comes burning the fuck down because you burnt yourself out trying to quiet bad noise with good noise. Because that's what we all do, right? We have all this bad noise in the background and we go, man, I really like, but I understand mindset. So I'm not going to look at that bad noise because I understand that cognitively. I know that I should be past that. So I'm just going to focus on the good, but it doesn't work like that. Right? Like I know it sounds like this trite, like Austin, Texas, Tulum, Mexico. You got to heal it or feel it to heal it. But that shit is living in your body, in your subconscious, and not looking at it. It's just creating a pattern of not looking at other problems in your life. And you might be able to stuff that down and stuff another thing down and until one day something too big to stuff down is going to happen, or maybe a little thing and just the lid won't shut anymore. And it's all going to come back out and it's going to blow up on a spouse, on an employee, on a client, on a lead, and it's going to tank everything. And inside, you know that already. That's what you're scared of. That's what that fear is, because nothing has felt how you thought it would feel up until this point. You made $20,000 a month. You made 50. You made $100,000 a month, maybe. But you're still wondering when it's going to feel the way that you thought it would feel. Well, here's the thing, guys. You can make a lot of money and still be fucked up in here. And it's okay to admit that, right? Like, we all think that we need to have it together, right? We all think that this existential whatever that's going on inside, like, well, I'm a leader. How could I ever admit that, like, there's voices, there's fear that lives inside of me. Fear that it'll all come tumbling down. Fear that they'll see me for who I really am. And like, these voices may or may not be true. Maybe you're really just like a closeted psychopath. Good for you for putting the mask on. Or maybe they're not actually true. And you know it's not true. You know it's just an imposter. So you don't look at it. But that's where the fault lies. Because until we look at it, we cannot fully release it. Right? It's like thinking there's a monster in the closet, so we don't look at it, but our brain is going to consistently say there's a fucking monster in the closet. Oof. Oh. So now we just live with that burden of not looking in the closet because maybe the monster will make eye contact with us and take us away to the monster realm. But you know what happens if we grab a flashlight or we turn on the light and look in the closet? That's just a pile of fucking clothes. And then you know what we get to do? We pick the clothes up and we put them in the hamper. And then we do our laundry. Then we clean them. We put them up. And no longer is that thing, there's that thing in the closet that we know is there, but that if we don't look at, we can pretend isn't there, but it's still taking up mental space and emotional energy. You know what this does to business? When we clear out that space, I've had coaches who do $60,000 a month tell me, dude, you saved my business. Because he was doing $60,000 a month consistently, month over month, year over year, for 3 years. And he was getting shiny object syndrome. But when we looked at it, it wasn't that he wanted to do something different. It was that there was unaddressed noise in his subconscious. And his subconscious had been telling him, no, we don't want to look at that. Because his subconscious had an autoimmune disorder that said, no, we're not going to do the thing that will heal us. We're just going to keep trying to pile money on it. That wasn't working. But what did work was working with me, was digging into what the underlying story was that he was running away from. And now Not only is homie's business doing better, but he has more clarity on where he's going with his partner in his romantic relationship. Or my other client, Matt, who had done $30,000 a month plus in his business before, but got crowded with noise and started backsliding. Where's Matt now? Well, after we worked together, Matt had back-to-back $50,000, $60,000 a month, and 6 days into this month, he's at $20,000. If you have all of the systems, if you have all the business knowledge, but more money isn't feeling the way you think it feels, maybe you're even starting to sell. I've seen people start to sell their Porsche and their G-Wagon because it didn't feel the way they thought it was going to feel. That's because we're marketed that stuff. We're sold that stuff. We're said it's going to create a feeling. Like we sell identities, we sell feelings, right? But none of that shit actually creates it. The money doesn't create it. It gives you some supporting evidence. But until you release the thing that says that you are not that person, you will forever be trying to pile supporting evidence on top of a story that doesn't believe that supporting evidence. So all of the confidence is built by proof. Yeah, that's great. But if you pile all of that proof on melting ice, it's all going to fucking pile through there and get swept away in the river of your imposter syndrome. So until you decide to hit pause on this subconscious autoimmune disorder that you have, that we all have, I have it too. After I hit my first $50,000 a month, I backslid because I was like, wait, what? It was that easy? I was like, oh, wait, there's something to look at. And I realized there was fear around money, but not around having none. It was around what's the paradigm shift when I have a lot. And guess what? It's not that much for anybody who has yet to get there. But those of you who have done $50, $60, $100,000 plus, those of you that are watching this that might have multi-seven-figure net worths, you know, the money didn't make you feel the way that you thought it would make you feel. The nice house feels good for a little bit, but you still wake up at 1:30 in the morning, wired for some reason, because you're running away from that version of you that had to fucking grind for everything. That version of you that didn't get it. That version of you whose parents yelled at you. That version of you whose parents fought, who put you in the middle of their divorce. And some of y'all go, well, yeah, but that stuff doesn't have anything to do with my business. Yeah, bullshit. You know it does, and I know it does. Because you're sitting there using that as the fuel to create your business. But as long as you're burning on dirty fuel, you will forever have a dirty business. You will forever not be able to fully enjoy it. That's why we get that fuel out of there. We actually go in and take a look at it and realize that we can set that down and still move forward. You don't need to use that gnarly pain story as all of your motivation. You know what happens when we actually look at that, actually learn to process it, not just in our brain, because the amount of fucking coaches that I've worked with who sit there and we get like through 3 steps in my 4-step process and they go, oh, I get it. I don't need to do that, the rest of it. I get it now. It's more than getting it, guys. It has to make sense in the sense that what is a sense? It's a felt experience. You have to feel it. You have to, in your body, go, oh, poof. Maybe you cry, maybe you don't, but whatever the weight is that you're carrying in your body, you will release it. I promise you. I've seen people who couldn't overhead squat all of a sudden have their thoracic mobility opened up so far that they could overhead squat because they were carrying tension in their tissue. And maybe some of you are going, yeah, I've heard about this woo stuff. I've done breath work. I've taken some psychedelics, but I still need my pain to be my fuel. I will bet you an hour of my time. I will bet you an hour of my time that the pain doesn't need to be your fuel. Send me a message. Take me up on that. Because this whole paradigm of you need to out hustle, you need to make more money than your dad ever did. For anybody who's listened to enough internet marketers, you know who said that. That was Alex Hormozi. And I give Alex 5 years before he's talking about finding himself and self-actualization. But nobody wants to hear that, right? Our subconscious definitely doesn't want to hear that we have to look inside to actually feel the way we thought we'd feel. No, I'm going to go get the $1 million house. I'm going to get the Audi. I'm going to take my kids on vacation. But here's the thing, when you're 88 years old, when you're 90 years old and you're on your deathbed, what will your family remember? Like, oh, wow, yeah, they built an empire. They left us money. Cool. No, how did you make them feel when you were with them? When your life flashes back in front of your eyes before you expire, what will you remember? How will you feel? Will you remember dancing with the ones you love? Or will it all be work because you were trying to run from the noise? You can only truly be present in your life with yourself and with your loved ones when you actually look at that noise. And if you just try to fucking bury it with another paid in full client or another revenue stream or another 14-hour day to prove that you're a badass, go you. But I can promise you from experience, from well over 1,000 hours working one-to-one with clients, people whose divorces were going to cost them multiple millions of dollars, that only lasts so long. That's the rant for today, guys. I appreciate you being here. If this landed, let me know. Drop a comment, drop a like, give me a subscribe, because I am absolutely sick of seeing entrepreneurs pretend like the systems are the only things. And they'll say business is personal development on steroids, but then they'll never actually fucking look at themselves. They'll say business is personal development on steroids, but I'm only going to look at my business. There's no such thing as a business problem once you have the systems and knowledge. You need the base level of knowledge. But after that, there's no such thing as a business problem. It's just personal problems that manifest as business problems. And you cannot silo this shit. Okay? It will bleed over. And if you try to just silence the personal problems with effort in business, well, that's going to spill over, and like your personal life's going to be absolute shit. You need to address the whole picture. And business is personal development on steroids if you so choose to lean into the personal side of it. But just saying, no, I'm just going to pile more success on top of it. Well, there's a reason that success doesn't feel like success. There's a reason that the freedom that you've achieved feels like fucking chains. And it's because you're still wearing the shackles that you're trying to run from.